Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week during the show season to discuss the latest episode. You can catch our episode reviews at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today, we are covering Daryl Dixon Season 2, subtitled The Book of Carol, Episode 2. For those of you joining us live today, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I am your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co-host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So, if you would like to connect with me online, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
Awesome. So before we get going, we would like to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comments section. If you are catching this on a replay, you can still comment on YouTube or Spotify, or even leave us a voicemail message using the Speak Pipe link in the show notes. If you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Oh, absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Exactly. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. And of course, huge spoiler alert for everything in the world through yesterday's episode. If you're cool with that, this is the place for you. And we should just jump right on in. But officially, before we start, I do want to say I know that there was like a leak somewhere, and a lot of people have seen all of the episodes already. Did you know that, Lisa?
No, I've been trying to avoid spoilers.
Yeah. So with that said, if you hear us say we think something's going to happen that's wrong and you know it's wrong, don't say anything.
Don't
Uh
spoil it for everyone.
don't spoil it. Just keep it to, yesterday's episode and, before. We appreciate you guys. I know that's hard to do if you've seen everything.
On what streaming? Where do they find all the episodes? Do you know?
I don't know. I just heard from a couple of people, like other creators, that other people had seen all the videos, and I know one of our listeners has seen all of the episodes.
Oh, okay.
So I know she's not the only one. It's probably a bunch of people that have seen all the episodes.
Yeah.
So
Well, I can't say that I haven't ever been tempted to watch ahead,
mhm.
but I do try. I've always tried to strictly maintain to no, we're only watching up to now because I want to be surprised.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I do get the temptation to try. I probably could easily find the episodes, to be honest. I know what to do to find them, but I'm not gonna seek them out. You know what I mean?
I do. I
Yeah.
absolutely do. And
Yeah.
if we weren't doing the show, I might have been one of those people that went, oh. But again, for the show's sake, I don't do that stuff.
Yeah, we're good. We're being good. And also, heads up, since for the live listeners, if something funky happens, I'll be back. I don't know what's going on my internet. Right before we hit record, literally like 2 minutes before, my entire house, the internet just went completely out. I don't know what happened. We don't know why. So I'm like, oh God, hopefully this isn't an omen and it was a one time deal.
Yeah. Mine did that yesterday, but it was my cat.
Oh,
It unplugged my router.
oh no.
So,
Well, we don't have any pets to blame it on. So no. Let's just hope it's all good. Okay, episode 2. What did you think?
well, I would like to say that I did say that Carol was going to make Ash stay at the plane, and she did.
She did. And I said, "Oh, she's gonna somehow get tangled up with Janae, and that's how she's gonna find Daryl," and she
She
does.
did.
Yeah, we kind of guessed a couple things correctly.
We weren't watching ahead, guys. I swear.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did not guess is, we kind of knew, the little boy would be kidnapped,
hmm
but we didn't know it was gonna be an inside job.
I knew it was going to be an inside job.
You
I
did.
just knew it. But I thought they were going to like take him off premises.
Mhm.
That this was going to be some. I thought this was going to be part of Laurent's test as
Yeah.
well as Daryl's. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you thought it was supposed to be like a little nice pass fail, no deaths included type
No, I mean,
test?
I thought that they were going to like whisk him away and put him in someplace dangerous,
Mhm.
and Laurent was going to have to survive on his own, and
Mhm.
to try and get back to him, or again, a test for Daryl to be his protector.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
because the father's been kind of encouraging Daryl to stay,
Yeah, because they
but
think that if he leaves, then they'll leave.
right. And so I figured that the part of that was is they wanted him, they thought Daryl would be a good protector for him, but apparently no, they want him to get bitten. You know.
Yeah, which is absolutely asinine and totally culty.
Oh yeah.
They just really believe that because when he was born, his mother was already turned. That means that he won't turn.
Yeah. And I guess that's the basis of this whole cult is that he's why he's the chosen one.
Right. Which
And I
I
guess
don't think.
up until they mentioned that, I never really, I knew it was about his mom
Mhm.
turning and then him surviving. I
Mhm.
didn't realize it was going to be a, the Last of Us kind of, oh, they're immune.
Yeah, and honestly, that happened, like, right before the kid was born, so I'm like, I don't know how quickly that would have affected the unborn baby because it literally happened right before, there was no time.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I
I
mean, she
don't
did turn quickly.
She did.
Um,
Yeah.
and she did turn before they had him completely out.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't think their plan's going to work out quite like they were hoping.
Mm-mm. Absolutely not.
I'm pretty
And
sure Daryl's going to show up and he's going to be a little pissed.
oh,
You know?
yeah, he's gonna come in there, yank the little child out of there before they have a chance to have it's probably gonna be in the nick of time before he's bitten.
hmm
'Cause
Well,
I can't believe they would let the walkers bite him.
when I was watching the previews for next week,
Mhm.
it's it's almost as if they're trying to rationalize with him why they need to do this.
Oh,
Oh,
so
but
they
we
want
need
his
to know.
permission?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Well, I
mean,
guess there's that.
I mean, that's kind of what the indication of the what the previews for next week indicated,
Mhm.
that there was going to be a conversation between Daryl and the father about why this is necessary. Um, of course, it could just end with Daryl shooting him in the head too. We don't know. Yeah.
So I do wonder though, what would cause them well, I guess they would have a conversation if Daryl got in there and rescued
hmm
him, then they would probably try to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's whack. Don't do it. The child's a child. There's no guarantee. That's too big of a risk. Why would you
Right.
do that to someone?
I mean, it would be one thing if he was if this was an accidental thing and he didn't turn, then they're like, ooh, a miracle. But they don't know.
Yeah, and I think their theory is wrong because, think back to Fear, right? Alicia was bitten and had the fever and everything. The thing almost we thought for sure she was going to turn. And she was
Yeah.
like in this state of in between or, almost dying constantly
Yeah.
for a long time. She survived it. Well, I think she survived it.
Yeah. I mean,
um,
but then again, she also whacked off her own arm.
she did. Um, but the question, maybe not soon enough. I don't know. But obviously, yeah, because they walked away at the end. So let's just assume she happily ever after.
Right.
Um, I just think the theory is wrong. I understand why they might believe that might be possible, but what about science? Can we talk a little science before we just get all ultra religious and just have walkers bite children? Can we
Right.
do that?
I mean, there's actually, because they can test the blood to find
Yeah.
out if it's infected or not.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could, I don't know, take a blood sample and see what happens when zombie blood's introduced to it. I mean, I,
There's someone in that group that has something to do with school and science. I'm sure they have a little bit of everybody.
well, actually, no. Actually, what the best way to find out is everyone else on the planet carries the virus.
Mhm.
They could test him to see if he has the virus.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be the
because he
easiest
wouldn't.
way.
Mhm.
If he doesn't have the virus, then, you know, then he's special.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna make it seem like well, I don't know. I don't wanna predict, but I have a sinking suspicion that it's just people trying to make their situation feel better, and it's not a reality. He actually could turn, and I think they're just gonna run away, honestly. I feel like there's no way that this show is actually gonna let them turn this kid into a zombie,
Right.
because that's what would happen. I
Yeah.
feel strongly.
Oh, I do too. Um, you know, looking at I had a conversation the other day with someone that talking about conspiracy theories
Mhm.
and how they are very comforting to some people because it allows them to find some kind of order that, while it doesn't exist in reality, to
Mhm.
make sense of their trauma.
Okay. I can
And
understand that. Mhm.
and I think that's kind of what's going on here. This is I mean, it's essentially a conspiracy theory.
Mm.
It is a theory without any basis,
Mhm.
but it allows them to assign some kind of rationale or order to a situation which has no real rationale or order.
Right.
But it gives people a feeling of being more in control, even if they're not.
Right.
And so this poor kid is probably gonna, they're gonna use this poor kid as a pawn to try and test that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and I mean, they're willing to kill their own people over it.
Yeah. Oh, and the father, I mean, he really was mad,
Yeah, he was
but he
mad.
didn't do anything to her.
No, he's weak.
Sorry about that.
He's weak. He could have done he there could have been some consequence when he found out what had happened.
Right. He could have absolutely denounced what she did.
Mhm.
He could say that, this is not the kind of people we are. But instead he's just like, we shouldn't have done that. And then that was it.
Like, go somewhere and sit down or something. What good are you? That's insane.
I mean, he didn't even put her in timeout or anything. You know,
No. She should have been banned. Like, you're out of here. Like,
yeah.
you've crossed the line. You've gone too far.
For that's a little she was a little bloodthirsty considering she's supposed to be a child of God there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Oh, I know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I thought that part of the story was actually good for this week because we needed a little bit more screen time with Daryl, so we got that by kind of focusing in on them a little while.
Hmm.
And it picked up literally exactly, where the last season left off, last time. So it kind of felt like it was really cohesive and everything kind of just gelled, and I was like, "Okay, I'll take it. I'm okay with it."
Yeah, and I mean, we talked last week about, oh God, a kidnapping, but
Yeah.
this actually, I did like this. This was, I thought the way they did it was well done. It wasn't some side group that kidnapped him, or
Right.
some long drawn out thing. I mean, by the end of the episode, um what was going on. Everyone knew what was going on.
Right.
You know.
And that's why it worked. It worked for one. I think it worked because it was from inside your own house, right? That type of thing. And like you said, we knew what was up. It didn't drag on for 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, like let's look for Laurent type thing. That would have been a disaster.
Oh
So
yeah.
this was a really quick, turn of events and resolution coming, and it worked in this case
Yeah.
because that
I
is like a trope I really hate
as
in
a
general.
funny. I did you watch the after the scenes stuff?
Just a little, but I was really half paying attention. So,
Okay, I was laughing because that scene with Daryl and whatever her name is kissing.
mm-hmm.
Apparently, at sunset, the bugs come out
Oh
really,
yeah,
really
and his
bad,
hair, yeah, his hair was flying, and
and I guess
uh,
the bugs are like flying into their mouths, and
yeah,
they're trying to do this whole scene, and I'm dying. I'm like, oh man,
that sounds awful, and maybe that is why it looked a little awkward.
yeah. And I because I noticed because it looked a little stiff, it looked a
Yeah.
little, I'm not going to say they were repulsed by each other, but like something was bothering them. Okay, if
Uh-huh.
I'm being swarmed by bugs, this would probably bother me.
Yeah, that would probably do it. We're sitting out here and it's just nasty and the bugs
And the
and
wind's blowing, and
his greasy hairs in his face. He talked about it being in his face.
yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very fun, I'm sure.
And all I could think of is, why didn't they just do that at dawn?
Yeah, I don't
They could
know.
have just waited. I mean, I don't, maybe the sun wouldn't be in the right place or whatever, but I'm just saying at dawn, while there's bugs, there's not as many as there are in the evening.
The actors go through so much to get these shots. I really feel bad for them. I'm like, ew, that's so gross.
So yeah, I'm like, you know what? Whatever awkwardness was in that kiss, I absolutely forgive them for it, and everyone else should too, because they had bugs flying into their noses and mouths.
Okay, so let's assume that we're gonna get another scene out of them before it's all said and done. At least
Hmm.
one more. I hope that one looks a lot better visually.
A little more comfortable.
Mhm. Mhm.
Me too.
Like they actually really like each other kind of thing, you know? A little more like two regular people and not like someone who's actually a nun trying to kiss someone or something. It looks
Right. Well, and because I know, because I had, and I'm sure you had seen it too throughout the last, well, especially the last episode in this one. The two of them had a comfortable familiarity with
Mhm.
each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
And again, but when that kiss happened, I'm like, man, they look a little stiff, a little awkward, huh? And then when I was listening to the after scenes, okay, and it all falls into place now, and it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, it does. It definitely helped. And they probably said we have to explain that because they know it looked not that great.
Hmm.
They're like, we have what we have. We have to explain it now. We're not redoing it.
And because I went up to Canada one year, and I didn't. I really, because I was going up to the Arctic Circle. I would, I think of, when you think of bugs, you think of the South, the equator. Oh no, oh God, they're awful. And in the evening, they would get so bad. I mean, they would just like fly into your face and and you just run for cover.
Ew.
So I understand exactly how they feel
Mhm.
being swarmed,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't. If I had been them, I would have looked at the director and went, "We're doing this later
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
morning after you
Mhm.
douse us with bug spray.
Wow.
We're gonna bug bomb this entire area."
Ew. One thing I noticed about, I guess this is the first time I think Daryl has had a new relationship that actually did cross over into actually being romantic. The reason why I say that is like I think about like Connie, for example.
Right?
They clearly had something going on, but we never got a kissing scene out of them.
No, we didn't. I mean, you could see the care and consideration between the two of them,
Right.
but
But
you
it
never saw any physical affection.
Right, it didn't actually go there. And of course, the other relationship was old, right? So that's not new.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I wonder how mad the carolers are.
Oh, you know they're mad. They're
I
gonna be
just
screaming,
thought of
"She's a
that.
nun!" Yeah.
But not really. She's not. Do you guys remember last season? She's
Yeah.
not a nun. Not
Not
really.
really. I mean, she put on the outfit.
Yeah.
She played the role.
Yeah. But not
That
really.
every. But that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's yeah, they're probably mad. I don't really care.
I think it's hilarious. I love it. It's so funny to me. But yeah, so good. Good for them. I'm curious to see where this relationship goes, or will he kind of flake out and it not work out? What's going to happen here?
Oddly, this may be the healthiest relationship he's had. Weirdly enough,
Yeah.
um, you know, she's she's not a woman in distress. I mean, she's in distress. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, she's not helpless.
But I kind of wonder though, is it really real or is it kind of because, he's kind of taken on Laurent as like a surrogate son or whatever.
Yeah, he does it a lot with
So
children.
is it because, package deal and all, or does he really, really like her? You know?
I don't know. I kind of saw the sides of him liking her
Mhm.
last season,
Mhm.
but because she was a nud, or he
Mhm.
thought she was a nud,
Mhm.
he was being respectful. But I did notice he was starting to give her the same kind of consideration he had been giving to Connie.
Mhm.
Um, and if she had continued to be a nun, I think he would have continued that. You know what I mean?
She had to make the move or they would have been friend zoned forever
Exactly.
because that's not his character. I feel like to do it. I don't know.
He's
He
not. I mean,
No.
he can be bold, but not when it comes to relationships.
Mhm.
Now, shooting someone, he's your guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And in some ways, he does do grand romantic gestures in a weird post-apocalyptic way.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's not he would not he in every relationship he's never taken the first step that we've
No.
seen.
He's definitely a beta. Definitely a beta kind of guy.
Hmm. And that's
And
okay.
yeah, that's okay. Somebody for everybody.
That's right.
Okay, cool. What else? Anything
So
more with them or
so
some?
there no, I mean, well, I mean the baseball scene was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, it was. I
and
liked
and,
it.
and apparently Laurent had in the character the actor that plays him had never actually hit a ball with a bat prior to this scene.
Oh no. Hmm.
And I guess they had to take like 500 shots of him hitting the ball. um but he did eventually get fairly good at it.
I can't even hate on the kid because I'd be equally as bad. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'd be like, miss, 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 miss. No, no, can't do it. Like
Yeah.
someone just put it together like I actually hit it. Someone cut it.
So I mean, he did in that scene with him hitting the ball. He really did do it. It took quite a few takes.
That's fine. Well, you could tell, that they were out there for a long time in the show. It made it
Hmm.
seem like they were out there for a while before he got it.
And I
So,
liked that because this is someone who had never done it, and Daryl was teaching him how.
mhm.
And so if he hit it out of the park, so to speak, as soon as it happened, I don't think it would have been as fun to watch.
Right.
And Daryl's there with, it's okay, I have another ball.
Yeah, it's good. No worries. Yeah.
I have another ball.
What about Leah like not knowing anything about American baseball? I guess that's possible.
I mean, it's not like it's going to be much of a subject during the apocalypse.
I know, but she was full ass adult. I don't know. Maybe. I thought everyone knew about American football. I mean, baseball, excuse me.
Well, I mean, there's probably awareness of it, but it's not a big
Mhm.
sport over there.
Mhm. No, it's not cuz we only play it like this here. So,
Yeah.
mhm. Mm. I was a cute scene though. They had a couple of cute things. Like, I really do believe, that Laurent really thinks of Daryl as like a parental figure. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And he
Or at
would
least an
follow him.
uncle.
Yeah, and he would follow him. If Daryl left, he'd want to chase after him again.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he did actually chase after Daryl.
Yeah, that's why I said
So
again. He'd do it again.
yeah, he'd do it again.
Mm-hmm. He would. And now this time, Isabel, excuse me, she's like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, after she found out that they had, set it up, that whole mission there was to essentially kill off Daryl and make it look like an accident.
Yeah. That was her last straw. She's like, okay, after thinking about it, you know, de passant, whatever she said.
Hmm.
Yeah. Things have, I got a new perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave.
Well, and up to that point, she would
Yeah.
have done everything she could have to keep Laurent there. Then again, she also doesn't know about the biting ceremony.
Yeah. She hasn't heard about that yet.
And I'm wondering how many people are actually aware of it, because that seems like an awful big secret to keep, away from her.
So I'm guessing everyone knows there's some kind of ceremony, but no one knows only a select few know exactly what the ceremony is.
Yeah. It's going to confirm our faith is all they know.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I got to believe that a lot of adults wouldn't be okay with that.
I would hope not.
Right. Can you imagine them all standing around in like garb watching this like as an actual ceremony? Oh, that would be so awful.
Well, it also explains why the father didn't want Daryl to be teaching him how to protect himself from zombies.
I know. Like, we don't want him to fight them. We
Right.
want him to just get bitten.
Exactly.
Hmm. And his instinct will be to fight them and kill them.
Hmm.
Yeah, like one would do in apocalypse.
Right. As one is wont to do.
Uh-huh,
You know.
exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, that's an interesting storyline. I'm curious to see. Um, so along with that, we kind of get to see Carol's side of things again.
Right.
And Carol and Ash, they they are a good team. I like them.
And you can tell every time Ash brings up her daughter,
She
she
feels guilty.
she's that the last time right before she left him at the plane,
I
she
thought
took
she was
a
gonna tell him the truth.
oh, I know, she took a deep breath and a half step back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, she's no, she's not going to tell him.
No, she's not going to, but
The
I
guilt is there.
it definitely is. And I think after that wild shenanigan fiasco in Greenland,
Oh yeah,
that was some crazy stuff. I'm like, it's I don't know. And these women were like scientists, right? They were scientists.
yeah. Climatologist.
Yeah. And the one chick is like, we have to repopulate. Oh my God. What are we going to do? Like, just keep him there? It's like some kind of. Were they just hoping they would be able to talk him into it?
Well, I suppose. Well, and it's interesting that they decided that Carol had to die.
Yeah.
Because if they were really interested in, restarting the population, more is better.
Yeah, they try to talk her into it as well.
But
You
no,
think?
nope, that's not the route they decided to take.
No. And
And
did you, okay, so when Carol was talking to the one woman and she's like, oh, I'll take that drink. I'm like, don't drink or eat anything that woman gives you.
oh, I know. But did you also notice Carol fell right back into the Susie Homemaker?
She did. She did. And I'm like, okay, well, she's kind of aware, but she still let that woman touch that weapon. And I'm surprised she did that.
Well, I think she was trying not to do anything alarming,
Hmm.
but she also pulled something off the table, but I didn't quite see what Carol grabbed.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Something black, but she took something off. She had a plan in mind.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what that plan was. We never got to see it.
Hmm.
But the one thing out of that whole thing that I found really interesting is, so when the two, Carol and the surviving woman, are walking back, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to try out my French." Blah 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 blah. And Ash shoots her,
Yeah.
and then he's like,
With a
he looks
flare
at
gun.
Carol. He looks at Carol, and he's like, She was going to kill you." And
Hmm.
Carol didn't miss a beat. She was.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew that wasn't the case, but she wasn't going to add to his burden.
And honestly, I don't know if I really believe that Carol really would let her come with them the whole way. Like, I just didn't believe that she would let that woman in the plane with them
Yeah.
after that. I think she seemed like she wanted to be empathetic about that situation she was in, and she definitely talked her into changing her mind,
Hmm.
essentially. But I still don't 100% believe that Carol actually meant that. I don't know why. Like, I expected her to, like, push her out the plane or something crazy. I don't know,
Yeah.
because she's such a her character is so consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like, does she mean this, or is she planning something?
I'm sure Carol was planning something, because you know she didn't trust her.
Mhm.
But at the same time, um I mean, now she could have, Carol being Carol, she probably could have killed her on the way back, but she didn't want to take the chance.
Mhm.
Um and I don't think that she was heartbroken that the woman died.
No, she wasn't. She like, "Yep, she was gonna kill me. Let's go."
Let's go. And
Yeah.
she didn't say, "Oh no, we killed the other woman." She didn't say,
Oh.
he doesn't even know the other woman's dead. She didn't say what happened or why she was walking back with this woman or anything.
See, I
Um
think that's because she does like Ash, she thinks he's a good person. And
right.
I think it's partially maybe because she just didn't want him to feel bad about killing her.
Right.
So I'm not gonna tell you anything about that. You're right,
Yeah.
let's go.
Because if she had said no, she wasn't actually going to kill us.
Mm,
She was wanting to come back to France. She killed her friend,
mhm.
to save the two of us. She was not going to do that. It was just, yep, she was going to kill us. That's it.
Yeah,
Let's go.
exactly, especially after finding out that was the first time he killed a live person.
Yes,
There's no way I wouldn't tell him either. Like,
I wouldn't have either.
uh-uh. 'Cause that
I
just
wouldn't
been
have said,
mean.
"Oh crap, she was on our side."
She flipped. She wasn't actually gonna do it. He would have been
Right.
so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm with Carol on that. I absolutely. I mean, because he would have broken down if he knew that Carol had managed to flip her to their side and everything else.
Mhm.
So, oh yeah,
She did the right thing.
she did.
So they made it all the way to France, which I still have a hard time believing that rickety thing made it, but okay, sure. They're there.
I mean, the showrunners did say, we asked, and they
Yeah.
said it was improbable but not impossible.
Right. So they want us to believe the almost impossible. So
Right.
just enough probability that it could happen to, I guess, be okay with it, which I am. They made it. And Carol, she says, "Hey, you stay here with the plane." She does not want him leaving and coming with her, and probably it's partially because she doesn't want to reveal what she's actually doing, and also because he really needs to gather the gas to go back.
Oh yeah. I mean, they
Yeah.
can't exactly be hauling around, 20 gallons or 20 tanks of gas or whatever.
Mhm.
So she's like, no, you stay here, you get the plane fixed up, you get it ready to go, you start looking for gas,
Mhm.
yada yada yada. Um, I'll go look for my daughter.
Right.
And legitimately, if she was actually looking for her daughter, that is a plan that does actually make sense.
Right, it does. It doesn't make sense for both of them to go, especially like she said, she could take care of herself, and she generally can, but even though she had a couple of moments where she needed to be rescued, in the last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, in general, she can take care of herself. She's a big girl, she can handle it. So she doesn't need assistance from someone who hasn't been out as much as she
Right.
pointed out, like, "You're kind of a newbie out here, so it's not gonna help me."
Right. So just kind of keep
Mhm.
low and fix the plane and, find the gas.
Mhm. And that's also a cool way for his character not to be murdered immediately.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Although he's going to be really surprised when that daughter comes back looking like Daryl.
Yeah. I know, Daryl, his girlfriend, and a kid in tow. That's not
Yeah.
gonna work.
There's no way they could all get on that plane.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not even a little bit. And she did tell him, "If I'm not back in 2 weeks, you should go," but he's not gonna go. He said he
He's
wouldn't.
right. And Ash is a good man, and,
Mhm.
unfortunately for him.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
And
mean, that plane could probably handle one more person,
mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe.
so, in Carol's mind, it's okay. If I can get Daryl to come back, I can think of an excuse. I can figure it out.
Mhm.
Once he's presented with the situation, she could even say, "This is my husband. My
Well,
daughter died."
she could say that, but I don't
Um,
think, Isabel would be like, "Okay."
right. Well, no, I'm just saying if she went and found Daryl and it was just Daryl,
Okay, yeah.
because she doesn't know anything about anything else.
Right, you're right.
So
Yeah.
she could always, like I said, if push came to shove, she could always say to Ash, "This is my husband. My daughter did die. We're gonna bring him back."
Although I think her original lie was, my husband sent her to be no, she said the husband was with her, didn't
Yeah,
she?
yes,
Okay.
she did.
Yeah, she took her to go see his family or something. She
Mm-hmm.
told him.
Yep, yep.
Well, that could work. That
It
could
could,
work.
except now he's got two more people.
I know. There's not enough space.
There's not enough space. They're
Yeah, he
gonna
thought we're gonna bring back one woman
right, one
because she
teenager
wouldn't be a
ish.
child anymore.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I
young
still have a
adult. Actually, I guess it would be, wouldn't she?
Yeah, I'm still, like, not 100% sure with the timing. I feel like it's been cleared up, but when I just think about it without looking at the timeline, I'm still not 100% sure.
She'd probably be in her early 20s, I think.
That's what I would think, like, because 'cause it's been long enough.
Yeah, I mean, Judith went from, a baby to, teenager. So, yeah, she'd probably be in her 20s.
Mhm.
Yeah, if she
Mm,
had lived.
mhm. Yeah, so that was interesting. But I did like how, we got to see Carol's, like, tracking skills put
Hmm.
into effect. I'm like, "Oh, look at her being so smart. She just left a trail for her to follow."
Yeah. The corn.
Yeah. She's like, "I'll just follow you and just eat my apple. I don't have to rush." But then again, she's, like, in this same spot, and I felt bad for her. She's, like, cannot understand anything they are saying. She does not speak French.
I know. And Ash did have a good point. I do speak French.
Mhm.
And, and if the one other woman had come along, she might have said, "Okay, Ash, you stay here at the plane, I'll take the woman." Um, you know, because she both could speak French and she can't.
Yeah.
But we have learned, because Daryl doesn't speak any French, that there's enough people that do speak English.
Yes, and she did sit next to one guy who spoke English pretty and she found out pretty quickly. He tries to introduce himself and she's speaking in English to him and he says, "Oh, I was an English teacher or something," he said.
Right.
So, yeah, there are lots of people, especially when you're close to Paris, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people speak English there.
And and again, we know from the previews for next week that Janine does actually notice Carol. "Oh, I can take you to Daryl. Oh, I'll bet you can." You know.
Uh-huh. And she's probably thinking this is great bait. Bring him right in.
Oh yeah.
But she doesn't know who she's dealing with.
She does not.
She's got no clue.
Oh, because again, we know that she's fallen into the Susie homemaker.
Mhm.
And Janine, I don't even think is going to question how she got there, how what it took for her to get there, to travel there alone. Um, Carol just has a way of silently effacing herself, from feeling threatening. She
Yeah.
doesn't, now she can give off the absolute threatening vibe. She's done that.
Mhm.
But when she doesn't, but she can turn that off and she can just look so helpless.
Mhm.
And so I don't think Janine is going to be prepared for what Carol is.
No, she's going to be in for a world of hurt probably. I'm sure Carol will injure her in some kind of way
Yes.
before she's done with it. Or before she
Well,
runs away.
because here's the thing. The
Mhm.
fact is of the two of them, Daryl is the nicer
He
between
is.
her and between him and Carol.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
He is the nicer. He's a little more, I don't want to say restrained because that's not the right word. He's not quite as bloodthirsty.
And not as quick to act sometimes. Like I think about in last episode, he had an opportunity to kill her, but he waited
Right.
and then the opportunity got away from him. I would have seen her and shot her immediately.
Right. And
I
Carol
wouldn't
would
have.
have.
Right, Carol would have. And I'm like, why did he not do that? So, but Carol won't make that same mistake. The
Yeah.
minute she gets a chance to kill her, she will.
So and again, I'm not there. I am not implying in any way that Daryl is soft because he's not. Um, he's just not as bloodthirsty as Carol is.
That's a way to put it. He's not bloodthirsty. Okay. Yeah.
um, well, and I can even and here's the thing. So from Carol's unique perspective, she started off on the show as a victimized domestic, abuse victim.
Hmm.
So she knows how bad people can be. And again, I mean, it's not that Daryl didn't have a good, it's not that he had a great upbringing or anything,
Hmm.
but he was never quite as much of a victim as she was,
Hmm.
never quite as helpless as she was at one point.
Hmm.
And I don't think Carol will ever let anyone have that kind of power over her again. So she's a little quicker to kill. She's a little less forgiving. She's faster to make us to make these decisions than he is. um
Yeah, he's kind of like I kind of feel like he's the soldier and she's like the intelligence officer. Like, she's one up him in a couple of ways, about how she thinks about things and it just puts like you said her mindset is just different.
right.
So, yeah,
And it's
he can do the task, but
and
it's
he's
so
very good
intelligent.
at it.
Yeah.
He is a very, he when the need is called upon, he can do the things
Yeah.
very well.
Mhm.
um but Carol I think takes a little more joy in her
I
work.
don't know if I'd use joy, but she definitely is no
Enthusiasm.
nonsense.
How about
Yeah,
enthusiasm? She has a
maybe.
little more enthusiasm for her work.
Maybe that, but I know she's a no nonsense kind of person. If something needs to be done, she'll just do it.
Right.
Um, yeah, and there's no mulling over it and considering. You just do it.
Right. I mean, in the two defining moments for Carol, in the difference between her and Daryl, when when she told the one little girl to look at the flowers and then shot her in the head,
Mhm.
she did it without hesitation.
Mhm.
Okay, Daryl would have been devastated because he had been taking care of these kids.
He wouldn't have done it. I feel like he would have something else would have had to happen. I can't imagine Daryl would have done it. I think he's too soft-hearted to have done it.
I think he would have done it, but you know, because he's the one that actually killed her daughter. He's the one that shot her daughter.
Yeah, but that was in mercy because she was already turned.
Right. And he might have had to wait until she had actually turned before he could do it.
Mhm.
Um, and the other scene is her making the cookies.
Yeah.
and making the veiled threat to the kid.
Yeah, and don't forget she also went off and killed all those people. What season was that? I can't remember. She, like, went off and just killed a bunch of people that were sleeping and set
Yeah,
the place on fire.
yeah.
So,
Carol.
she's a killer. That is
Yeah,
something I would apply to her and not Daryl.
yeah. I mean, she can be kind, she can be loving, she can be generous and affectionate. But the one thing that Carol does not have is mercy.
Like, you better sleep with one eye open around her. If you've done something, you better not look away
Oh,
because she'll get you.
oh, you're right, Karina. It was Rick that puts down Sophie. I swore it was Daryl because he was there. He was near her. Oh, it's been a long time. That was
Oh,
season 3.
Daryl put down Dale. Okay. Mhm. Yeah.
That's right. You're right. Do you? All right, Karina. I got to ask. Do you just have a notebook, or do you just have excellent memory? Because season 3 was so long ago.
I guarantee you she's got a memory. She remembers everything. It's her memory. But yeah.
But yeah,
I love that we have our own Walking Dead encyclopedia as a friend of the show. We appreciate you.
we really do.
Yeah, you help us out a lot.
But yeah, but like I said, yeah, Carol doesn't have mercy. I mean, that's the one
Mhm.
thing she doesn't have, and Daryl does. Daryl has forgiven when he should not have even.
Mhm.
She remembers.
Yeah, told you.
Karina just said she remembers. Look at
Yeah.
her go.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, because when when Daryl found out that the woman he had been with was a soldier, and he had the opportunity to kill her to mitigate a lot of this, he didn't.
Uh-huh.
He has mercy, which isn't always the best thing.
Mhm.
Carol wouldn't have done that.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, they're two distinctly different. I mean, they work really well together, but it's because they each have different strengths, and so
Yeah.
they're a good team.
Mhm.
And Janine is going to be a little shocked, I
You
believe,
know,
in her encounter with Carol at the end.
oh yeah, she already knows that Daryl can best her. I think she knows this. But once she finds out that this little older woman is also going to best her, she's going to lose it. I mean,
Oh
she's
yeah,
probably going to have some kind of reaction right before she dies.
oh yeah. She's not gonna. You can't do this kind of reaction.
She's going to be yelling at people to kill them and take them away and all be dead.
So I got to tell you, I am actually looking forward to seeing the one on one between Carol and Janine.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be funny, not haha funny, but I think it's going to be amusing to watch.
I think so too. I think once she well, so you think she'll know immediately that I see this American and obviously she knows Daryl, or you think she's gonna hear her talking to that one guy who they've been beating half to death and then figure out that that's who she's looking for?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Daryl is firmly branded into her brain.
Mhm.
Um, and if she overhears Carol talking to him, or one of the guards say, "Hey, this woman's asking for about Daryl,"
Mhm.
um, and the fact that she's in the prison tells me that she probably did ask the wrong person the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be interesting because Janine's gonna do her best to manipulate Carol, and Carol's gonna go along with it, knowing full well what's going on.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. But the 19 people that came with Carol, I think they were just gonna experiment on them.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think they actually wanted people to work for them. I think they wanted more people to do test or whatever that
Hmm.
they were doing.
Could be. I was assuming that's what the other truck was for.
Oh, like they had two trucks and they were like, "Oh no, you over here."
Uh-huh.
They put her in a different one.
Yeah.
Like
Because
maybe the smart people and the dumb people.
well, no, because remember the one guy said his husband had lung problems.
So,
I'm wondering if they were taking the unhealthy people.
oh, and one truck and then okay, that's interesting.
That was
Well,
my assumption.
hmm. Well, I guess we'll find out probably. I'm guessing we'll find out what they intended for those 19 people because they were originally looking for 20, but they brought back 19.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. You
So,
get a little food and then they're like, volunteer. And people are like, yeah. I'm like, oh gosh. Okay.
well, because they still, I mean, they need stronger people. Um, and the one woman's like, "Oh no, not this truck, that truck," because she seemed to be impressed with Carol,
Hmm.
and because she knocked out one of their guys.
Look, I think she thought she was impressed with her not only because she knocked the guy out, but because she was just gonna sneak in the truck. Like she wasn't like fighting for it with all those people. I think she thought she intended to sneak into the truck.
Right. And so I think they're kind of like the A's and B's. I think they're continuing the A's and B's.
Hmm.
And Carol, I think the other truck with the sicker, the unhealthier, um we're put in that truck, and I think they're the ones that are going to get experimented on. Then again, I could be wrong, but I don't think they'd want a whole bunch of unhealthy people just hanging around,
Hmm.
because that would be a drain on them.
Yeah, I can see that totally. So what? Some of them are going to be soldiers and whatever, and some of them are experiments.
Hmm. And I think the truck that turned off, they're the experiments.
Hmm.
And I think because you know Carol's not being shy about asking about Daryl. Of course, she doesn't know his reputation there at this point, but she's going to find out real quick.
Hmm.
Um, but this will expedite her being able to find Daryl.
It definitely will. It's gonna just like she's gonna be served up like, hey, I got you're someone who knows you. Don't you want to come get her? And it's gonna be some kind of thing. It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, except I'm still thinking of that in the teaser trailers that they had before the season started.
Hmm.
They kept showing Daryl standing, looking out, and you see her step
Behind
up
him.
behind him and go,
Yeah.
Daryl. And I'm sure they could use any number of scenes for that, but I kind of feel that Carol finds him on her
Hmm.
own.
Maybe she just escapes or
Yeah,
something.
I think she figures out a way to manipulate Janine, or even say, "Oh no, I'll bring him back."
Hmm.
She could do that very convincingly.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything could happen, honestly. I'm not really sure, but I think you have some good solid guesses.
They are guesses, guys. I swear to God, I'm not watching ahead.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I didn't find the secret stash.
Yeah. You're like, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I'm good at guessing. So yeah. And I will say, I really did actually like this episode.
I liked it better than the first one.
Well, good.
I did. I liked it. I don't really have any complaints about it, to be honest. So,
I can tell because you didn't complain.
yeah, look at that. Look at that. Miracles do happen.
They do. And I was hoping that because I did enjoy it. I liked it a lot. And
Mhm.
the only thing I really was wondering about was um that kiss between Daryl and what's her name. And now that it's been explained by Bugs, I'm like, okay, I get it. And I can get behind that.
Mhm. That's the only reasonable explanation because that was just rough.
It was that was a rough kiss, man. But when they were talking about bugs flying into their mouths and up their noses and getting into their ears and flying into their eyes, and yeah, yeah. There's just no way that you can be romantic when you've got bugs flying into your face.
Yeah, I don't know what you'd have to think of to turn on that, you know, to make that happen, I don't know what you'd have to think of when there are bugs all around you trying to attack you. That's tough.
I couldn't have done it. I
Yeah.
mean, straight up. I know because I've been in a position where I've been surrounded by bugs like that, and I am telling you, I could not do it.
Gross.
I mean, but it's not even just even the gross fact. It's just when they hit you, the reaction, the hitting you in the face, and you brush,
You jerk
you
back
you
probably,
jerk
like,
back, and you want to
yeah.
brush them off of you, and you're, kind of not, and then you're looking around for the bugs and trying to avoid them. Um, yeah, yeah, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, how are your hands not just on constant flailing around
And
trying to
that's
keep
why
the
I'm
bugs
wondering
away?
because he's got his hands stuffed in his pockets and she's got hers firmly crossed through that whole scene.
Like, try not to move, don't move.
Yeah, and I really,
Gross.
looking back at that scene, I think that's because neither one were in a very natural stance through that
No,
whole thing,
no.
which gave it that awkward feel. And so yeah, I get it. But like I said, I don't understand why they didn't say, okay, guys, we're gonna stop this and we're gonna do this at dawn instead of dusk.
Look, they like to torture the actors.
And
It's as
because I
simple
mean,
as
dawn and
that.
dusk, you really, if you don't know, sorry, if you don't know east from west, sorry, dawn or dusk, it does, people aren't going to notice on TV.
I
And
don't know. I think sunrise looks different than sunset, even if you're not considering if it's east or west.
yeah, I guess, but still, it would have been so much easier on these guys. Or
Yeah.
again, if they had bug bombed at least I don't know, sprayed him down with bug spray or something. The poor guys. I just feel so bad. I feel so bad for him.
Oh, those
You
are
know,
the breaks, man. Those are the breaks. It's part of the job. They can do it.
that's what you get paid the big bucks for, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I guess if I was getting paid as much as Daryl, I'd stand there in bugs.
Oh God.
You know, I
I mean, I would.
guess
I mean, I would too. I'm not even gonna lie. I would. I would just deal with it. It'd be fine.
it wouldn't be fine, but I would deal with it. So, all righty. I think we're done. Are we done, Tamara?
Yeah, I think we're done. We covered all the highlights, I think. So
Yes.
I'm excited for next week. So it should be a good one, I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed, man.
Fingers crossed. So thank you to everyone who listened live tonight. Special thanks to Karina who commented during the live. And that's it today for today. It's been a fun time. Thank you again for listening to the entire episode. We appreciate you for doing that. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe wherever you are listening. And we'll be back again next week. And you want to make sure you get that notification, so turn those on. If you enjoyed the discussion, please leave a 5-star rating as well wherever you are listening. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.